Hello guys and welcome back. In this video I'm going to show you the best 15 sword fighting video games ever ranked. Begin with number 15, Godfall. Godfall is an action game developed by Counterplay Games and published by Gearbox Publishing. The game was released on Microsoft Windows and PlayStation. And for the story, I'm going to give you some hints about the story. Slasher that tells the story of Rain, who must learn to the wield of powerful weapons and uses abilities to defeat his evil brother Macross. For the gameplay, the game is set a high fantasy setting split into the realms of earth, water, where you can take the role of one of the last knight's order. The player has 5 weapons classes to select, and the weapons included the longsword and the dual blades, two-handed warhammer and two-handed great sword. Actually, you can give it a try about this game. It is an amazing game. I already played it before and I did enjoy playing this game. And for the graphics, the game has an incredible graphics, and for the gameplay it is an amazing as well. Number 14 is Immortals Fenyx Rising. Immortals Fenyx Rising, originally known as Gods and Monsters, is an adventure video game developed by Ubisoft and published by Ubisoft. The game was released for Amazon Luna and Nintendo Switch, and for the PlayStation 4 and 5, and for the Xbox One and Xbox X Series and S. And for the story, I'm going to give you some hints about the story. Immortals Fenyx Rising follows the story of Fenyx, a human mortal thrust into the world of ancient Greek gods on a quest to save their brother from story fate. The evil has escaped from territories and taken the entire pantheon as his hostage. And for the gameplay, it is in a third person. At the beginning of the game, players can customize the gender, and the game is set in a large open world. The players can explore the world, and the open world is gonna be accessible from the beginning of the game. And this game is from the same creators of Assassin's Creed Odyssey. And number 13 is Shadow of War Middleearth. Shadow of War Middleearth is an action video game developed by Monolith Productions and publishing by Warner Bros. And the game was released for the Microsoft Windows and PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. And for the story, Shadow of War continues the previous game narrative, which is based on GRB. The players continues the story of the Ranger Talion and the spirit of the Elf Lord who shares Talion's body, who will fighting against army of Sarun. And for the gameplay, the game set is an open world environment and played from the third person. The player controls a Talion who has natural athletic and combat abilities as a ranger. The game included main quests that drive the game's narrative, and there is side quest as well that help you to boost Talon abilities. Actually, I recommend you to play this game. I already played it before a long time ago and it is an amazing game, and I already finished it and I platinum it, so I recommend you to play it. And for the number 12 is Final Fantasy VII Remake. Final Fantasy VII Remake is an action game developed by Square Enix. It is the first in a planned series of games remaking in the 1997 PlayStation game Final Fantasy. The game was released on PlayStation 4. And for the story, it puts a player into the role of mercenary named Cloud Strife. He joins AVALANCHE, an ESO group trying to stop powerful Shinra from destroying the life on the planet. And for the gameplay, the time battle ATB system from the original, which gradually fill up slowly or can fill up faster with the attacks. Once it filled, then the player can halt the action and use special abilities such as magic. Actually, I already played it on my channel, so you may check it out if you would like to. And for the number 11, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Assassin's Creed Valhalla is an action game developed by Ubisoft Montreal and published by Ubisoft. The game was released on Microsoft Windows and Xbox One, Xbox Series X and Series S, and the Standa. And for the story is during Vikings invasion of Britain. The player controls in Ivor, a Viking rider who becomes embroiled conflict between the Brotherhood of Assassins and the Templar Order. For the gameplay, the game has open world adventure game, and there is several main quests and many side quests as well. The players has a choice of playing Eivor as either male or female, or letting the game choose between the two at the key moments in the story, and is able to customize Eivor's hair, war points, clothing, armor, tattoos, and so many stuff. And there is weapons, and those weapons include the great sword and shields and so many stuff. Actually, I recommend you to play this game because it is an amazing game with the graphics and with the gameplay. I didn't finish it, I already played it on my channel. I made 5 parts of it and I did enjoy it so far. So I highly recommend you to play this game, and I'm gonna let you to watch some of gameplay. And for number 10, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. Hellblade is a dark fantasy action game developed and published by the British video game development studio Ninja Theory, inspired by Norse mythology and Catholic culture, and the game was released on Microsoft Windows and PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch. And for the story, the game follows Senua, a picked warrior who must make her way to Helheim by defeating otherworldly and facing their challenges in order to rescue the soul of her dead lover from the goddess Hela. And for the gameplay, the game is divided into 2 types of gameplay. The first allows Senua to walk freely and interact with her surrounding, and those parts focus on their story via voiceover, and Senua's travels from a location into another, or a resolution of a puzzle or challenge of some kind to progress further. And the game has many bosses to fight, and Senua, she has her own sword drawn out and turned towards of her enemy. Number 9, Devil May Cry 5. Devil May Cry 5 is an action game developed and published by Capcom, and the game was released for Microsoft Windows and for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, and the game takes place 5 years after Devil May Cry 4 and follows a trio of warriors with powers. And for the story, on May 16th, devil hunter Nero hunts a demon named Horizon after a dying man takes his demonic arm and sword Yamato, traveling to Red Grave City, and he finds a demonic tree planted in the city which is killing people for their blood. And for the gameplay return of Dante and Nero as playable characters along with the new character named V. The gameplay is similar to that of the others titles in the Devil May Cry series, focusing on the fast-paced. The player fights off hordes of demons with weapons. And for number 8, we've got Nioh 2. Nioh 2 is an action-playing game developed by Team Ninja. The game was released for PlayStation 4, and there are versions for Microsoft Windows and for PlayStation 5. And for Nioh 2 Complete Edition will be released in February 2021. And for the story, most of Neo 2 storyline chapters are prequel to Neo, while the end of the chapters of the story take place after the first game's last storyline. After the Sage of Osaka, players take the role of a character nicknamed Hyde, a half Yukai referent to a shifting whose journey through the Sengoku era begins. And for the gameplay, the players can create their own playable characters who has a Yuka spirit, and the player will have many weapons such as Odashi and earn new skills as they progress in the game. When the players defeat hostile Yuka, some of them may drop Soul Core. They allow the players to use Yuka abilities and transform into Yuka after being transported into Shrine. And for number 7, we've got the Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim. The Elder Scrolls Skyrim is an open world video game developed by Bethesda Game Studios and published by Bethesda Softworks. It is the 5th main installment in the Elder Scrolls series, following the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, and was released worldwide for Microsoft Windows and for PlayStation 4, Xbox 360, and you can play it on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S. And for the story, the game main story revolves around the player's character and the Dragonborn on their quest to defeat Eldian and the World Eater, a dragon who is prophesied to destroy the world. The game is set 200 years after the events of Oblivion and takes place in Skyrim. The player completes quests and develops the characters by improving skills. And for the gameplay, it is a first or a third person game. The player freely roam over the land of Skyrim, which is an open world environment, and there is many places and things such as dungeons or cities, towns, fortresses and villages, and you can improve your skills by skills point. There is so many stuff about this game and I can't cover it only in 2 minutes long video. And I recommend you to play this game. I already played it before and you can say I still playing it because it is an interesting game with the stories, and I play it online sometimes, and most of the time I play Elder Scrolls Online. It is an amazing game as well. It's the same gameplay but there's so many different things between it. And for number 6, we've got Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Assassin's Creed Odyssey is an action video game developed by Ubisoft Quebec and published by Ubisoft. It is the 11th installment in the Assassin's Creed series. The game was released for worldwide for Microsoft Windows and for PlayStation 4, Xbox One and Nintendo Switch. And you can play it on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S. And for the story, the game is a historical story set in 431 and 422 BC, 400 years before the events of Assassin's Creed Origins, and it is during the war which was fought between the city-state of Greece. The player takes a role of a mercenary, is able to fight for the Hellene led by Athens. And for the gameplay, the player is able to choose between the siblings and they are the main characters, and there is so many different weapons such as blades and all kind of swords and spears, axes. You can give it a try for this game. I already finished it before a long time ago and it is an amazing game. And for number 5, we've got Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. Sekiro is an action and adventure video game developed by From Software and published by Activision. And the game was released for Microsoft Windows and for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One and for Nintendo Switch as well. And for the story is set in 16th century Sengoku, Japan, and the game follows a shinobi known as a wolf as he attempts to take a revenge on a samurai who attacked him and kidnapped his lord. And for the gameplay, it is a third-person game compared to from a software's own Souls series. The game features fair role-playing, character creation, and the ability to level up, as well having a multiplayer elements. It does, however, include gear upgrading, a skill tree, and limited ability customization, rather than attacking to whittle an enemy's health points. I already played it before and I already finished it, but the thing is, it's not easy game at all. So if you are looking for a difficult game to play, you can give it a try. And for the bosses, they are difficult a little bit, but I recommend you to play this game. It is a good game. And for number 4, we've got Demon's Souls. Demon's Souls is an action role-playing game developed by Blue Point Games with the assistance from Japan Studio and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. It is a remake of Demon's Souls, originally developed by From Softwares and released for PlayStation 3 in 2009. The game was released as launch title for PlayStation 5. And for the gameplay, the game features new weapons, armor and rings, and a new team called Grains, which gave players a temporary resistance to effects like poison and fire and bleeding. As with the original, players are limited in how much they can carry before their characters becomes encumbered. And in the original game, healing grasses have no weight, so players could carry hundreds of them. In the remake, these healing team now have a weight associated with them. And for number 3, we've got The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. It's an action role-playing game developed and published by Polish developer CD Projekt Red, and it's based on the Witcher series of fantasy novels. It is the sequel to the 2011 game The Witcher 2 Assassins of Kings, and the third main installment in the Witcher's video game series, played in open world with a third-person game. And for the story, the game takes place in a fantasy world. Players controls Geralt of Rivia, a monster slayer for hire known as a Witcher, and search for his adopted daughter who is on the run from the otherworldly Wild Hunt. And for the gameplay, the main character has many weapons such as a bomb, a crossbow and 2 swords. One is steel and the other is silver. The steel sword is used to kill humans, while the silver sword is more effective against the monsters. And I recommend you to play this game if you didn't play it before, because it is an incredible game. And for number 2, we've got Ghost of Tsushima. It is an action and adventure game developed by a Sucker Punch production and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. It is an open world. It follows Jin Sakai, a samurai, on a quest to protect Tsushima Island during the first Mongol invasion of Japan. The game was released for PlayStation 4. And for the story, in 1274, a Mongolian invasion fleet led by Kotenkai lands on the Japanese island of the Tsushima. Jin Sakai joins with the rest of the island local samurai led by his uncle, Lord Shimura, and attempt to repel the invasion. Then the battle ends in a disaster. Available to access different reach areas, the game features side quests and non-playable characters with which a player can interact. I already played this game and I already finished it, and you may check it out on my channel if you would like to. And if you like the games with the open world and too many side quests and too many main quests, then you may play this game, because this game, it has too many things. And for number 1, we've got God of War. I know that most of you already played this game and most of you know about this game, but even though I'm gonna talk about it because I do like this game so much. I already played it more than 3 times and I even platinum it. I'm gonna talk about it. God of War 2018. God of War is an action and adventure game developed by Santa Monica Studio and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment, and the game was released worldwide for a PlayStation 4. It is the 8th installment in the God of War series. It is the 8th and the sequel to 2010 God of War 3, unlike previous games which were loosely based on Greek mythology. And this installment is rooted in Norse mythology. It is set in ancient Scandinavia in the realm of Midgar. And for the first time in the series, there are 2 protagonists. Kratos, the former Greek god of war, remains the only playable character, and his young son, Atreus, following the death of Kratos' second wife and Atreus' mother. The journey to fulfill her request that her ashes be spared. At the highest peak of 9 realms, Kratos keeps his troubled past secret from his son, Atreus, who is unaware of his divine nature. And if you wanted to see more videos like this one, don't forget to subscribe down below and hit the like button. I would really appreciate it. And thank you all for watching. Thank you for your support, and I will see you next time. And I will leave you with the gameplay of God of War.